I think a lot of this side hustle discourse is just rebranding economic insecurity as entrepreneurship and making an entire culture out of it. I talk a lot about how our culture intersects with our money and how we see ourselves in the world around us. And I think side hustle culture specifically and like the gig economy is very much due to the structural constraints that a lot of young people are currently in. But it also very much feeds into this like optimization culture that is very pervasive, especially in our digital world, where you feel like you constantly need to be optimizing and monetizing at all costs and at all times. And so, like I said before, you'll have these structural things like stagnant wages, frozen job market, student loan debt, et cetera. And on top of this, like the traditional career ladder is broken for a lot of young people. So I think the idea of like a side hustle is also often posited as like a way to like earn bonus money or for like a very specific type of person who like wants to maximize their income streams. But I think for a lot of people, it's becoming a necessity. And on top of this, over the past couple of decades, companies have continued to shift towards a model that is contract work, gig work, instead of having full-time employees because it costs them more money. And so as I wrote about in my newsletter, you create the conditions where something like a side hustle is a need, and then you'll get an entire industry that will take this economic desperation and sell it back to you and rebrand it. And I talk a lot in my newsletter and also generally about how like language shapes how we see the economy, how we see ourselves, etc. And we've essentially created a world where like every hour of your life feels like it needs to be monetized. And that's how you get people like filming themselves all the time or feeling like they need to be working all the time. And that framing, right? Like the relentless productivity is the price of survival. That does something very specific to your brain. It makes it structural failure feel like a personal failure. And again, as I talk about, you have agency when it comes to your financial decisions. However, you need to understand the context that you're operating in. And there are plenty of external forces around us that make it much easier or much harder for us to make good financial decisions and build wealth.